Good morning to all and welcome to Bharadwaj Institute for this revision sessions. Of course, the revision sessions are more like a practice session where you have already a knowledge about the subject or about topics that are being there in part 1. We are going to practice multiple choice questions. Wherever some explanations are required, I'll do that. So we start with section F, then we go to the reverse order. We just do it in the reverse order because many students feel that, okay, section E and F are theoretical area, let us skip for the exam, concentrate on A, B, C, D like that. But 30% of questions comes from section E and F. Okay, 30% of questions come from section E and F. So if you leave this section E and F, you will be able to attempt only for about 70 marks. So it's better to have a knowledge on all the sections. So for that only, the revision session starts from section F, number 1. Number 2, as posted in the material, okay, this will be useful only for those already learned and not for those fresh learners, because here in a regular class, conceptual explanation will be there, then practicing MCQs will be there. Here, since you have already learned, we are going to start directly with which one? Practicing MCQs. But I have clustered or I have arranged the topics, subtopics in such a manner that I just give a 1 or 2 minutes orientation. Then let us go with the revisions kind of a thing. Number 1. Okay, so we are going to start with information system. Maybe you could have seen the value chain by the porter. The primary activities are those which are required for bringing your raw material to manufacturing and selling them. For example, I bring the raw material inbound logistics, then I do operations, the production, outbound logistics, I reach the product to the customer, I sell the product, then I do after sale service. These are all called as what? Primary services. Then other things, infrastructure, human resource, technology development and procurement are what? Support services. Through that we add value to the customers. Through that we add value to the customers. Okay, so simple. In the supply chain, we see how the goods come in, how the goods are manufactured, and how the goods are reaching the customer, and what kind of after sale service we do. And of course, the information system aims at automated accounting. What do you mean by automated accounting? You just put an entry in one place, automatically it goes to multiple places. For example, a raw material is purchased, you just pass a journal entry, automatically it goes to journal, it goes to cash book, it goes to ledger, it goes to general ledger, it goes to the main ledgers, and of course it goes to the extent of checking the balances like trial balance. Then also it goes to income statement, balance sheet, inventory is updated. Just pass one entry, automatically everything gets updated. That is called as what? Automated accounting system. Not only that, cash flow, okay, accounts receivable, payable, all those things are updated. For that, we use transaction codes. We use which one? Transaction codes. Every head of account will have a transaction code. We use that. Then, of course, input can be through keyboard. It can be just scanning. Okay, all the transaction entries are passed. Point of sale systems. For example, you go to Domino's or you go to Macronet, where you just scan and make a payment. Automatically, the bill is generated. Automatically, accounting is done. Nobody does all those things. You can find in hotels, etc. and all, they use tablet computers. They get the orders, they just click, table number 2, automatically order is processed, and if they click, the bill is generated kind of a thing. It can be through microphones and web cameras, where you just give a voice command, automatically the bill is generated, accounting is done kind of a thing. Okay, so output can be physical reproductions like statements, etc. It can be explained audio outputs. It can be video outputs like nowadays, if you look at accounting information, if you want to explain it, we use AI tools where the output is being taken by AI and they analyze and interpret about profitability, about assets, about liability, whichever you ask for, they give you kind of a thing. So this is the first part of our MCQs. Let us go through this. Michael Porter envisioned the value chain having two types of activities known as. There are two types of activities. Primary activities and which activities? Support activities. Primary activities and what? Support activities. Okay. Which of the following is not true about accounting information system? Which is not true? Be careful about the question which is not true. I request you to read Then I'll tell you which is true. System has 4 process: input, processing, output, storage. Okay. System is error free. That is okay, and brings to an end to an employee stealing of physical inventory. See, when you automate the accounting system, when you automate the accounting system or accounting information system, it will not stop stealing the inventory. For that, you should have some other control. Okay. So we are only just automating and doing the accounting through systems, and it will not stop stealing physical inventory, which is not true. B is not true directly. No need to read even C or D or whatever. Read question number 3. In an accounting information system where the information such as ledger accounts, numbers, customer account numbers, customer histories are stored, we call them as master files. Master file is where you store your customer histories, account number, their transactions, past purchases, past payments, etc. be stored there. Which of the following are outputs of accounting information system? The key word is outputs of accounting system, information system. Yes, we have balance sheet and income statement. Yes, payroll taxes, all customer receivables, how many days the money is due, aging reports are there, depreciation registers are there, raw material usage registers are there. Answer is all. Through the accounting information, you can get data or details about all. You can get data or details about what? All. Read question number 5. Which is a primary activity? Which is a primary activity? We had seen inbound logistics, operations, okay, maybe processes, outbound logistics, then sales, marketing, or maybe your, after sales service are primary activities. So here operation is a primary activity. B, C, D are support activities. Which is a primary activity? Operations. Read question number 6. There is a subsystem upgrade. There is some concern about whether or not recent sales were recorded accurately. We want to check whether or not the sales were recorded accurately. Okay, with correct quantities and dollars amount. One of the staff of the accountant has received all the cash registers receipts from the sales floor. Is not sure whether the accounting information is to verify the receipts match with data in the system. You want to verify whether correct quantities and sales has been entered or not. Where will you check? Where will you check? Transaction files. Transaction file is the first primary file where the transaction gets recorded. If the entry is wrong, automatically posting in the ledger or trial balance or P&L account or balance sheet or cash flow will be wrong. So if you want to check the amount, quantity, etc. and all, check the transaction file. Check the transaction file. Read question number 7. For an accounting information system, a source document can be source document. It is not input device. They ask you source document. Should it be in electronic format only? No. Is it an output device? Output device is nothing to do with source document. It can be in paper format or electronic format. For example, bills, invoices, proof, vouchers, etc. can be either in what? Paper format or electronic format. For 7, the answer is what? D. Question number 8. Can you answer? Some of you can answer. which is not a primary activity. Marketing is a primary activity. Technological development is a support activity, not a primary activity. Not a primary activity. Technological development is not a primary activity, that is a support activity. Question number 9. Question number 9. Which of the following statement about output accounting system is not correct? It is about output accounting information system. Keywords are most important. Understanding what is expected is most important. Report should follow the same format every time they run. Okay. Report from the system are used by what? Internal and which one? External decision makers. Report should include date and range. Okay. Report should be provided in electronically or in hard copy. See, the report from the system are used by internal and external decision makers are not correct, because output of an accounting information system, it is just an output, that's all. It may not be used for decision making. Only the annual reports like P&L account, balance sheet, analysis, that can be used. Ledgers, trial balance, journals, or books of accounts, or customer list, etc. and all cannot be used for decision making. Especially external decision makers cannot access our accounting information system. You may be a shareholder of a company. Can you go and ask for books of accounts, vouchers, bills, etc. and all? No. So the output cannot be used by what? Or may not be used by external decision makers. Question number 10. Medium-sized company wanted to change the wage rate. They want to change the wage rate per hour of an employee. You want to change wage rate per hour of an employee. Which file the CFO need to change to update a new thing? General ledger is storing all the thing. Employees transactions are just past payments, fines, withholding taxes, etc. and all. Payroll transaction is nothing but past payments made. So you need to alter employees master file, where you will insert or feed in which one? The new wage rate per hour. So you have to go for which one? Employees master file. Employees master file. In general ledger, read this, you analyze, then let me explain. General ledger, is it a book of primary entry? No. It is a place where in which all the transactions are recorded in the accounting system through any of the journal or modules, or directly through what? General journal, like that. Okay. General ledger will contain all the information. It can be journal or transactions, or it can be specific ledgers information, it will be there. So answer is D. Answer is which one? D. Right? So next we'll move on to transaction cycles. Next we'll move on to which one? Transaction cycles. Let me to give a brief idea or 2 or 3 minutes intro about transaction cycles, and we'll proceed with that. What do you mean by revenue to cash cycle? I sold the product. Whether the cash comes to me on the same day? No. The product is delivered, then we give credit period, then the customer pays. Sometimes customer delays and pays. We send reminders. Okay, we prepare aging schedule like paid within 2 days, paid beyond due date, outstanding beyond due date, outstanding for 6 months, like that. We prepare aging schedules, we send reminders, and we collect money. So revenue is generated today, but is the cash collected today? It takes time. That is called as revenue to cash cycle. Okay, revenue means we sold the goods. Cash means when we collected the cash. There is a time. We purchase, but do we pay immediately? If it is a credit purchase, we make the payment late. Which may be with discount, without discount, all those things. Production cycle is nothing but Raw material, process, then output. The processing time. Processing time will have 5 activity, 10 activity, 20 activities. There may be, for example, storage or stoppage because of non-availability of machines or material in a particular place. There will be some bottlenecks where you will have more products waiting for manufacturing, etc. So production cycle is nothing but if raw material comes, within what time you manufacture. Human resources and payroll cycle is nothing but recruiting the workers, appointing the workers, training them, inducting them, and it's about, for example, when you have to pay wages, when you are actually making the pages like that. Financial cycle is to do with, how frequently you prepare your reports. It can be quarterly reports, semi-annual reports, or annual reports like that. Fixed asset cycle. This includes both maintenance as well as replacement. Maintenance, repairs, and which one? Replacement. That is included in which one? That is included in which one? Fixed asset cycle. We call it as what? Plant, property, equipment cycle. And of course, general ledger, and we generate reports, which may be your P&L account or balance sheet, things like that. Okay. So let us see the questions based on that. In an accounting information system, a business provides for which transactions are closely related, such as obtaining items and services, managing inventory, and making payments is called as so we purchase the goods, we manage the inventory, and we make the payment. This is called as transaction cycle. Okay, we buy the goods, we manage the inventory, and make the payment. Total transaction cycle. When did we purchase? When did we store? How much we store? And when do we make payment? It's a complete transaction cycle. Which are not part of revenue to cash cycle. Which are not part of revenue to cash cycle. Which are not part of. Go through this. Let us analyze. We will record payments receipt. Yes, it is part of revenue to cash cycle. Receipt of customers' orders and creation of sales orders. Yes, it is part of revenue to cash cycle. Projecting cash flows is not part of revenue to cash cycle. It is part of preparation of budget. It is part of preparation of budget. Yes, we record the receipt of customers. Okay. Preparing for suppliers. Payment for supplier is not part of revenue. That is expenditure. That is expenditure. Reviewing credit applications. Okay, that is also closing inventory to determine whether the items are ordered in stock, following up, etc. Back ordered items, etc. That is part of which one? Revenue to cash cycle. All these things are part of which one? Revenue to cash cycle. So which one is not part of revenue to cash cycle? Which one is not part of revenue to cash cycle? Item number 3 and 5 only. Item number 3 and 5 only. Why? Because 3 is not connected with revenue, customers, collections, nothing. 5 also is not connected with customers. It is to do with which one? Suppliers. Okay. So checking the inventory to determine the order in stock and following up with backlogged items, like you have to push the inventory to the customer, that is part of your revenue. Delivering the product is part of your revenue cycle. So answer is what? 3 and 5 only, which is not part of revenue to cash cycle. Developing cash flow projections is part of which cycle? Developing cash projection is part of which cycle? Is it production cycle? Is it production cycle? Is it revenue to cash cycle? Is it related to purchase expenditure cycle? This is related to which one? This is related to which one? Financing cycle. This is related to which one? Financing cycle. Yes. Cash flow projections are part of which one? Financing cycle. Look at this. Which is not an input. which is not an input, which is not an input of financing cycle in the accounting information system, which is not an input. Paper checks, bank statements, interest rate forecasts are part of inputs. Cash budgets are output. Cash budgets are nothing but what? Outputs in the financing cycle. Look at this question, check it, then let us answer. If there is a question like this, just read it. Which of the following are classified as inputs to the financing cycle? Not output, input in the financing cycle, and which are classified as output in the financial cycle. They ask you to classify into inputs and outputs. Paper checks received is an input. Okay, cash collection and disbursement summaries are which one? Output. Preparation of which one? Preparation of cash budget is an output. Remittance advices received from checks from customers, of course, it's an input. Information on dividends received and paid, it's an output. Bank statements are which one? Inputs. So which are all inputs? 1, 4 and what? 6 are inputs. Remaining are outputs. Which is the correct option? C. Read question number 6. Which of the following statements about human resources and payroll cycle is true? Human resources and payroll cycle is true. Tax withholding form should not be recorded. No. Payroll journal entry should be manually entered. No. Payroll is not usually outsourced to the third party, it is outsourced to third party. Employees payment system approval and payments are being approved. Okay. Time cards may be created and entered what? Electronically. Yes. The job cards, time up, time in, time out. Okay. Hours worked, time clocked, etc. and all, it can be created what? Through scans, through barcodes, through biometric access systems, it can be created what? Electronically. Others are not true. Others are not true. Need not be. Question number 7. Which is not an output of fixed asset cycle. Which is not an output of which one? Not an output of fixed asset cycle. List of fixed assets acquired is an output. Depreciation register is an output. Fixed asset register is also an output now. Fixed asset change forms and which one? Receiving reports. Okay, that is not part of your fixed asset cycle. Output of fixed asset cycle. Output means the reports that you generate, which may be list of fixed assets, depreciation, and fixed asset register, but not which one? The change of forms and which one? Receiving reports. We just change the form in which we receive the report. That is not output. That is not which one? Output. Barcodes, tags, GPS are the technologies that are used more predominantly in which cycle? Financing cycle, we don't use any barcodes. Revenue to cash or purchase or expenditure, we don't use. We use only in which one? production cycle. You can find in various car components, some barcodes will be there. Engine, battery, maybe headlights, seat covers, etc. And all some barcodes will be there. That is to ensure that the production is passed, quality is passed, inspection is passed. So you can find all these barcodes, etc. and all in the production cycle. You can find some stickers will be there. When you buy a new bike, you can find 5 or 20 stickers will be there. That is to check or ensure that, okay, everything is recorded properly. Everything is recorded properly. Human resources and payroll cycle as inputs and which one? Outputs. This is about human resources and which one? Payroll. Which is an input, which is an output. Just go through that. Personal actions from document hiring of employees. This one is input or output. Input. Then employee listings showing current employees information about addresses, etc. and all is an output. It is an output. Then time sheets, time cards, etc. and all, we take the input. We take the input. Payroll payment registers, gross paid deductions, etc. Journal entries and all what? Output. Then payroll deduction authorization forms. Deductions, we get approval from the employees, then we record it. That's an input. Tax withholding forms, it's an input. Where employee gives a confirmation, based on that we do that. So which is an input? 1, 3, 5, 6 are input. 2, 1, 4 are which one? Outputs. 1, 3, 5, 6. Based on that, the transactions are processed, recorded, etc. and all. 2 and 4 are nothing but what? The output that we take. Question number 10 part. See, cash sales transactions are recorded through sales ledger. Okay, cash transactions are recorded through cash book. Purchase transactions are recorded through purchase registers. Okay, all other things are recorded through which one? General ledger. So which one is recorded through general ledger journal? Credit loss expense. Credit loss expense like bad debts. They are recorded through which one? General journal. Look at the 11th one. Outputs of which department? Purchasing and expenditure cycle in an accounting system include all except Ketrika. Purchase and expenditure cycle, it will include everything except what? We are just purchasing and making payments. We are just purchasing and making what? Payments. Adala output does not include which one? Managing and controlling inventories, because we purchase and pay. Adukku discrepancy reports, maybe wrong purchases, etc. Yes, it is included. Cash requirement forecasts are included. Checks and payment advices, yes, they are all outputs. Managing and controlling inventory is not part of output in a purchase and expenditure cycle. Question number 12, which is not a production cycle, which is not an output in production cycle, which is not an, question, be very careful, not an output in production cycle. No, inventory status, enabling purchase and production managers to monitor inventory level, that is part of input, that is part of your, inventory status, like how much inventory is there. Okay, when we produce and store, how much inventory is there? Reconciliation, physical inventories with book balances, it can be there. Cost reports, etc. can be an output in production cycle. Okay, output inventory reconciliation, inventory status, cost reports and all is what of which one? Output. This is connected with raw material. This is connected with which one? Raw material. It is connected with material management, not with which one? Production manager. It is an input and not an output. It is an input and not which one? Output. It is not connected with production, which is exception ketirukam, which is not. Answer is what? D. Question number 13 par. Which of the following statements are about revenue to cash cycle and an accounting system is not true ketirukam? Which one? Revenue to cash cycle, which is not true ketirukam. Revenue cycle made on the computer, tablet or over internet. Okay. The sale of a product should automatically increase the next raw material order. No. So that is not connected with revenue to cash cycle. That is not connected to which one? Revenue to cash cycle. Next part. Cash requirement forecast is an output of which transaction cycle? Cash requirement or cash availability? Cash requirement. It is connected with which one? Purchasing and which one? Expenditure cycle. Cash required for purchasing and of course making a payment. It asks you where it begins. Purchasing and expenditure, where it begins. Okay. Let us assume you are the purchase manager. Just like that, can you go and buy? First, what will you do? You will receive which one? Requisitions. How much quantity to buy? Requisitions will be raised by the production department. Based on that, you will go for, that is a starting point of purchase. Thereafter, you will identify the suppliers, receive the quotations, then place the order. So starting point is internal purchase requisition from which department? Production department. Question number 16 par. Barcode scanners may be used in input devices in all of the cycles. Production cycle and use panla, purchasing cycle kuda you can use panla. You can use it in revenues etc. and all you can use it. But not in which one? General ledger and reporting system. There is no barcodes that are used. You just feed in the transaction or transaction gets automatically posted. There they don't use which one? Barcodes and scanners. Production to quality pass you can use barcodes and scanners. Purchase yes we can use barcodes and scanners to feed in the inventory, transaction etc. While generating revenue, we can have scanners to generate which one? Record which one? Sales transactions. But not which one? General ledger reporting system. Question number 17. Approve vendor invoices for payment. Financing, no. Revenue, no. Particularly about payments. So it is which one? Expenditure cycle. It is about which one? Expenditure cycle. Done. Next, it is about which one? Database. We have the database. In that there is a file or which one? Table where records are stored and each data will have what? Each record will have a field, different fields. For example, a database of customers, database of suppliers, that is a database. Database of past orders, database of defects. Okay. we'll maintain a file or which one? Table, monthly or yearly or weekly we'll maintain. That will contain a record of various activities, transactions, events, etc. and all. That will have field, order number, okay, who made the order, okay, when the production started, when the production ended, whether it is delivered or not. It will have what? Subfield like that. It will have which one? Subfield like that. Okay. So we require to develop the database and maintain the database and interrogate. Suppose if there is any query required, you should be able to interrogate and get the data. Then develop an application, okay, where it will result in which one? Easy access of data. Okay. So that is what. Now let us come to this databases. Database requires primary key for each record. Primary key for each record. Which one is the primary key indicator? Purchase order is the primary key. The vendor is not a primary key. In case of purchase order number is the primary key and not the vendor number. Okay, vendor number closed purchase order in the transaction file also. Okay, again purchase is a primary key. Vendor number in which one? Accounts payable master file. What is accounts payable master file? It's nothing but creditors list. List of creditors, list of people from whom we purchase goods on credit. Where we will have what? Vendor number. There it becomes which one? Primary key. First understand what is a primary key. What is a primary key? With which you identify. Okay. For example, employee ID may be a primary key for generating list of employees. But in case of a payroll, it becomes what? A secondary key. Okay. So what is a primary key? That is the first one. When they reimburse, it becomes what? Reimbursement numbers will be the primary key. Then where which employee reimbursed, which will become which one? Secondary key. In case of production orders, the production order number becomes what? Primary key. Which employee worked? When the payment is made, those becomes which one? Secondary key. Look at the second. Which language enables users to interrogate database, enables the database administrator to create description of logical and physical structure of the database, enables the transaction processing programs and update the database. Data manipulation language is not used. Normally we use which one? SQL.
But like query search
enables the transaction processing programs to update the database. We just interrogate a database to create the description of logical and physical structure of the database. We are not going to do anything. Enables the transaction processing programs to update which one? Database. We can just query and get the data and describe what happens. Then thereafter we design the programs to update the database. Okay, we just take the interrogation. We just do which one? Interrogation. That is which one? Structured query language. SQL is the correct option. Third paragraph. What database query tools such as SQL provide generic reports from the database cannot? Presentation of graphical data, okay. Data changed into text mining through natural language processing methods, okay. Rapid answers to ad hoc questions based on what? Queries using which one? Basic keywords. Is it possible? No. Question is cannot. System output organized in a comprehensive report. That is also okay. That is possible, but not this one. Rapid answers to ad hoc questions based on queries using which one? Basic keywords. Not possible. You should have a standard query language. Structured query you should make. Answer is C. Question
What
number.
is ad hoc?
Ad hoc means temporary questions asked. As of now, the questions asked. You cannot insert such things. Standard only you can use. Structured only you can use in making a query. Question number 4 part. Which one is false? Physical structure of the data is independent of user needs. Correct. Data is shared by passing files between programs and systems. No. Will you pass the entire file or the information required? Only the information required. So that is not a proper way of a database management system. When there is a query raised, when there is a data taken, only the relevant information will be given, not the entire file will be given. What is a data manipulation language first? You can update, you can modify, you can rectify, you can delete, you can add all those things. Okay, that is that data manipulation language. Which of the following statements are true except Keterka? Except means which is not true. Which is not true. It is used to by transaction processing programs to update the database. Correct. So users need not know the data manipulation language. For example, you are working in a software called as Tally or SAP. The person who is operating that particular thing, entering the data, etc. and all, do they have to know the coding, programming and structures through which the Tally is created, how it executes, etc. and all? No, you should know only how to operate. That's it. To update a database, you just require which one? No need of knowing which one, any language, etc. You should know how the things work. That's it.
Information.
Schema, subschemas, and record structures are defined in which of the following functions? Database interrogation, application development, maintenance, database development. Interrogation only SQL and more than use. Interrogation is nothing but getting an information.
Maintenance.
Maintenance is to do with inputs, the process, generating outputs, and the data storage. All those things are part of which one? Maintenance. Application development, it has nothing to do with application development. Are we doing any application development over here?
Create.
The app create பண்ணது, of course, application development. It is part of which one? Database development. See, for your company, what is going to be the master file, record, field you design? you design, that is for which one? Database development. Question number 7. Which is an elementary unit of data storage used to represent which one? Individual attributes of an entity. Elementary unit means the basic unit of data storage. Which one? Data field. The commands such as insert, delete, update, merge, etc. are used in data manipulation language. Manipulation means altering the data. What language interface would be a database administrator use to establish the structure of database tables? Interface which a database administrator uses to establish a structure of database. Are we going to get any query? Are we going to make any alterations? Are we going to generate anything? No. Data definition language. Data definition means in which order the data should be stored. Collection of related data files combined in one location to eliminate redundancy. Think padam. Data warehouse where all the data will be stored. Okay, these are all vast thing. Can be accessed by multiple users is known as which one? Database. It is not data lake. It contains what? Relevant as well as what? Irrelevant data. Next. Which primary function of a database management system involves developing a custom application including what? Queries, forms, reports, labels of a custom application which may be different custom applications to easily access what? Single database. Queries, forms, reports, labels, custom applications. Many different custom applications, they can access a single database. Is it to do with maintenance? No. Is it to do with interrogation? No. Is it to do with development of data? Developing a custom application. This is part of which one? Keywords, application development. We develop an application in such a way that queries, forms, reports, labels, etc. From different users are easily accessible. That is part of which one? Application development. Question number 2, which is not a function of database management system. Giving database to users, okay. The ability to delete the information from database, no. That is not a function. Thirteenth part. Which of the following statements are false with respect to data definition language? Data definition, now which data you want to store, and that is not used for updating and storing the data. That is data maintenance. That is which one? Data maintenance, that is not related to data definition. For example, what data you need, define. That is nothing to do with which one? Updating the stored data. 14th question. Entity relationship model to plan, analyze which one? Relational database, files, and which one? Records. Which is not one of the most important relation type to get. the data can be one to many, many to many, or it can be what? One to one. Answer is all these things are correct. All these things are correct. None of the above. Okay, the data fields may be like one to multiple, many to many, okay, and one to one. Schema is a total of all subschemas. Okay, for example, you have a data, okay, there is a field, there is a schema, there is a subfields and subschemas. Collection of schemas, we call it as which one? Schema. Question number 16. University lists all the students in its student database. Which of the following is a primary key? ID number is the primary key. Student list panna, student ID number becomes a primary key. Which is most frequently used standard language for interacting with relational database. Which one? SQL. Database management system is best defined as it may be a related definition, but what is the best definition? Conceptual schema that maps relationship between what? All data elements. That talks only about a small group. That talks only about what? A small group. Program, that system that controls disconnected master file, not related master file, edukku poi nammo control pannom. No. Program that manages set of which one? Interrelated data, centrally coordinated data files. This could be the appropriate answer. Why do you store data? Whenever you want, you should be able to interrelate the data. For example, on a particular day, a particular job is handled. You want to know which workers worked. Okay, simple. The job order should be interrelated with which one? The number of workers working. Okay, and centrally coordinated data files. Okay, all the data files are stored in a central storage, which may be a cloud or something. So the best answer is what? B. 19th part. A database consists of group of related tables containing a structured data. Related tables containing a structured data. For example, purchase orders, purchases, payments, storage, raw material, all those things, related tables will be there. So they are called as which one? Relational database. According to hierarchical levels, they ask you to arrange from lowest level to highest level. What is the lowest level? What is the lowest level in this? Field. Appuram record. Appuram file. Then database. Which is the correct one? Okay, database is large. In that file is there, record is there, in that field is there. Read 21. description of a database, including the names, data of the data elements, their characteristics, and the relationships to each other would be using which one? Data definition language. Data definition language. 22. An inventory clerk using a computer views the following on the screen: part number, part description, quantity on hand, quantity in order, order quantity, and which one? Reorder point for a particular item, reorder point for a particular item. Collectively, this data is known as, not individually, collect individually they are called as field. Collectively they are called as which one? Done. Next. What is ERP? What is ERP? For example, in your company, you want to know where the machine is. It's a moving machine. It goes to the customer's place and does the work. You want to know where the machine is. The system should provide the information that where the machine is. Which worker is doing which job. You want to access information. The information should be available. What is the stock level in the godown? Is it minimal or maximal? Okay, which vendor has not, we have not made the payment. Payment is delayed. Or which customer has not paid the money on time. Okay, what is our financial position? What is our cash position? Okay, are we having sufficient number of workers, machines, capacity, etc. So on a single click, the information should be available. Or integrating what? Integrating the information access system. We call it as which one? Enterprise resource management. For example, I am a person who is taking sales orders or orders for production. Okay, can I accept a customer sales order? I should be given an access or data about what? Is the raw material available, whether the production facility is available, or the workers idle time available, time slot available. Okay, the resources should be accessible for me so that I can say what? Yes or no to the order. Number two, how many times, days it will take for me to process and supply. Okay, and that particular thing will be available only when you have what? The information available through which one? Enterprise resource management. Simple. Having a control, a coordinated effort, interlinking which one? Different resources of an enterprise, which may be manpower, which may be missions, which may be cash, inventory, production facilities. You coordinate and make the information available for decision making. We call it as which one? Enterprise resource management. Enterprise resource management. Okay, so go through this questions and we'll answer. Which of the following are the advantages of enterprise ERP except Ketercom, which means which is not an advantage. Which is not an advantage. See, if it is manual accounts or system-based accounts, employees can handle it easily. If it is ERP, you have to train. You have to train. It is not simplifies. It complicates the employee training. It complicates, or you have to what? You have to put an effort on the mark. Question number 2. ERP enables what? Purchase, production, delivery, sales. That this can help in minimizing the duplication effort, lowering the production cost, reducing the wasted time. Answer is what? All the above. ERP reduces duplications, it reduces the production cost and reduces what? The time wasted. Which of the following statements with respect to ERP are correct except Ketercom? ERP uses centralized database. ERP integrates all the financial data. Okay. ERP system generally lead to what? Redesigning business process. Everything is good. ERP cannot be extended. ERP cannot be extended to what? Customers. ERP is only with which one? The company. Internal users. External users cannot do. External users cannot access our information on the market. Which is not a component. Which is not a component of ERP kit. accounting, sales, human resource எல்லாமே part of ERP தான். But performance reporting cannot be done through which one? ERP. We are just doing enterprise resource planning தான், and not which one? Performance evaluation. Read question number 5, analyze, then let us answer. Look at this. Always when a lengthy question is given, read the last 2 lines. ERP system might help, but and solve all the problem except ketrika. Otherwise, which ERP cannot solve? Now read it. See, through the ERP system, you can find out what is the delay in production due to shortage of raw material. You can identify longer production times due to the number of customizable backpack options will not be available through which one? ERP. Now, standardization work can be available. Customized backpack ERP system cannot give you what? The data or time frame, etc. Okay, sales staff not able to tell the customer their desired backpack is currently in stock or not. They will be able to tell. ERP will be enabling the sales staff to tell whether the stock is available or not on the market. Customer is being charged for incorrect price. ERP it will result in what? Working out correct price. But only thing is that for customized backpacks, what is the time taken to deliver, or what is how long it will take to deliver? Okay, that you cannot tell it through which one? This ERP package. Question number 6 part. Which is not a disadvantage of implementing ERP system. Otherwise, which is an advantage of implementing ERP system. Which is not a disadvantage of implementing which one? ERP system.
PNC is a disadvantage. P is also a disadvantage.
Data has to be entered in multiple times. No, if we implement an ERP system, data need not be entered multiple times. Data need not be entered multiple times. It will automatically track. So that is not a disadvantage. That is not a disadvantage. Answer is A. Users of ERP system. Who use ERP system?
All the above, sir.
Okay. Accounting, finance, human resources can use. Can customer use our ERP? Yes. With respect to tracking the orders and delivery, they can use. Suppliers, can they use? Yes. When we place the order, they can track whether it is delivered or not, quantity supplied, etc. and all. Logistics, yes. Tracking mainly. Production, scheduling and planning, at which stage all those things can be included. Okay. All the above. Answer is what? All the above. All the people. What is the primary advantage of ERP system? Advantage of ERP system. What is the primary advantage of the ERP system? More simple. Distributed data processing irukad. The data will be stored centrally. Otherwise, a single storage where the data store pannirpom. The required information will be available to the respective users for decision making. The main advantage of ERP is centralization of data. Which of the following is not true with respect to ERP கேட்டிருக்கான்? Which of the following is not true with respect to ERP? First take hit ஆயிடுச்சு. It utilizes centralized database, not a decentralized database. Which is not true. It is not utilizing what? Decentralized database. What ERP can integrate? What ERP can integrate? This is only accounting covered. Human resource, no, it's not so. And ERP is total, everything. It's about purchase, production, both, financial as well as what? Non-financial data of the entire process can be integrated. 10B. Read this, then we will see. Which of the following are the disadvantages of converting an existing separate rating system into ERP system? Disadvantages. Now we are having a normal system. We want to convert into what? Separate information technology system, which is a disadvantage கேட்டிருக்காங்க. Which is a disadvantage கேட்டிருக்காங்க. Yes, re-engineering cost will come because you have to totally change the system. Converting the data from existing system to ERP system is costly because you have to feed in, create, etc. Then information technology staff cost will not increase. It actually will reduce. You require lesser number of staffs. You require which one? Lesser number of staffs. Then ERP lead to system failures, cause disruptions in which one? Various departments. Transitions. Okay, we are moving from X to Y model now. During the transition time, that can cause which one? System failures. Yes. ERP system is an ongoing process. Cost for hardware system maintenance upgrades is yes, it is there. Data duplication reduced. It is an advantage, not a disadvantage. So, what is in all disadvantages? 1, 2, 4, and which one? 5. Which is the correct answer? C. Okay. So we'll go for this data warehouse, data mart, data lake, and enterprise performance management. Okay. Maybe taking about 10 minutes of break. We'll take a 10 minutes of break. Then let us go with this. What is a data warehouse? Simple. The enterprise, your company's data is stored. That is called as which one? Data warehouse. Okay. So let it be error-free, uniformly defined, and it will have a longer time span because it's your company's data. It's your company's data. That is called as which one? Data warehouse. What is a data mart? What is a data mart? Okay. For example, I want to know only about production details or number of orders, or I want to know the collection details, overdue details. Then I go to which one? Data mart. Clear? It can have a dependent data mart, okay, that takes from existing warehouse, or it can be an independent data mart which can be created without a data warehouse like that. Okay. What is a data lake? Unstructured data, we call it as which one? Data lake. Unstructured data, we call it as which one? Data lake. Okay, so that is the other one. Let us go through that. What is meant by enterprise performance management? Simple. Okay, identifying key performance indicators. Okay, identifying. Okay, the maps and networks through which you understand the production, human resource flow, everything is being monitored. That is what we call it as which one? Enterprise performance management. Okay, so we can compare the report with actual performance. Okay, key performance indicators of the department can be attained. Balance scorecards, strategy maps, and other management tools can be applied. It can be which one? Forecasting and performance modeling can be generated. That is what? Software as service. Cloud computing can cover or it can help you to manage which one? Enterprise performance management. Go through this. Which of the following statements are false ketirka? Which one of the following statements are false in ketirka? Which is a false statement?
A.
Think பண்ணுங்க. Which one is false?
One, two, four, A.
Three கிடையாது. False. Data lake can be updated by a data scientist. Oh, that is also false then. All are false. Data mart is not an unstructured data. Data mart and data lake are not usually user friendly. Data lake is not user friendly because it will have unstructured data. Data lake will update பண்றதுக்கு it's not require a data scientist. Data mart is a process data. So all the statements are what? False. All the statements are false. B. Question number 2 part. We want to implement data warehouse is seeking to establish which one? It's telling only for transaction processing purposes. The database, is it only for transaction processing purposes? No, it is for which one? Analysis, interpretation, comparisons and other things. The most appropriate answer should be B. One or more large databases of detailed and summarized data for analysis and for analysis purpose. Next, which of the following is true about which one? Data warehouse. Is it, which one is true, Ketrika? Which one is true? Only current data? No, it has past data also. Data warehouse usually updated by end users. No, it is updated automatically, etc. Data warehouse is not used for everyday transaction processing. True. Data warehouse, whenever you require, you can mine the data and take the data for analysis. So which one is true? Yes, it is not used for which one? Everyday transaction processing. That is true. Fourth question part. Single location in which a copy of all the historical data of entire organization is stored as which one? Data warehouse. Which of the following best describes the differences between data warehouse and a data mart? Data warehouse இருந்து ஒரு subsection தான் data mart. A subsection of data warehouse is called as what? Data mart. Answer is A. Next part. EPM software the The word itself is enterprise performance software. It is not for preparing financial statement, not for departmental level, not for integrating organization. That is data. Okay. Enterprise performance management software will be used to monitor which one? Organizational performance, such as standard setting, variance analysis, comparing standards with actuals and the mari panam. Which one is true about data mart? It is a subsection of which one? Data warehouse. Eighth one, a data warehouse can be described as it has complete data of the organization, So which one, which meaning comes? Is it for a particular functional area? No. Is it for a particular functional area? No. Then corporate intranets, extranets, no. Which is the correct one? Centralized and which one? Integrated database of historical data about which one? Organization. Mathala, not a correct answer. Ninth one. A data lake is which one? Massive body of information that is fed from multiple sources in which the content has not been processed. Simple, from the various information, from various thing, we take the information and store. We take the information and what? Store. That is not processed. That is not which one? Processes so far. Strategy maps, balance scorecards, key performance indicators are used in which one? EPM. All these to evaluate the performance. All these to evaluate performance. For the data stored in the data warehouse to be useful, the data should free of errors. Allow the users to write queries and take the information. You should be able to take what? The historical data. Answer is what? All the above. Answer is all the above. Which one of the following best describes EPM? It monitors. What is answer? It improves operational efficiency. EPMA, enterprise performance management software, will monitor and give you the feedback. Improvement can take place by suggestive actions and corrective actions. Answer is what? A. EPM monitors which one? Organizational performance. Monitors organizational performance. Data mart that draws exclusively from existing data, that is which one? Dependent. 14th one. EPM software is it is just go through that. Something connected with performance should be there. Gathers data from multiple sources and consolidate to support monitoring the process and linking strategies and planning and which one? Execution. That is what? Performance management layer. Pathala, it's not connected with performance monitoring and other things. Question number 15. Which one is not a function of an accounting information system that is integrated with which one? ERP and enterprise performance system. Which is not a function of ERP or EPM. Yes, we deliver the data. Do we allow vendors to access the data? No. That is not a function. Allowing vendors to access your data is not a function of ERP or EPM. which of the following is not a type of data mart? Not a type of data mart. It can be dependent, taking from existing source, hybrid, or it can be what? Independent. But there is nothing called as what? Semi-dependent. What is data governance? Okay, data should be available when it is required. Data that is available should be usable by the users, etc. And all. Data should be completely available. Ensure that the data is not leaked and protected, and data privacy should be there. Access should be given only for the purpose and not for everything. Integrate the data, okay, which can be internal or which one, external, and store the data. And system should be available to store the data, and the system should be maintained, and you should comply with which one? Laws, and of course roles and responsibilities of managers and employees will be there. There's a order in which the data flows. There's a data in which what? The order flows on the clear. So this is connected with our internal control system that we discussed in other sections of the Mari. Okay, control environment, assessing the risk, then going for which one? Control activities. Like 11 principles of the internal control will be applied here also. Go through this. Data governance. Which one is following best describes primary purpose of data governance? Analytics is not a problem. Ensuring data is stored and cloud for easy access. No. Managing data flows. We talk about data governance, not data interpretation or something. Data governance related to reliable and consistent data for which one? Better decision making in which one? Risk management. That is part of which one? Data governance. Question number 2 part. Protection and life cycle of data within the organization. Protection and life cycle of the organization, data within the organization. Governance, integration, availability, security. Data protection comes under which one? Data security. Read the third one. Consistency, reliability, and accuracy of data. Consistency, reliability, and which one? Accuracy. Data integrity, trustworthiness. Data can be reliable. Fourth question. Data governance is to do with which one? Quality control of the data. Availability, consistency, privacy, all those things are covered. Data governance includes all of the following except what? Compliance with regulation is there, availability is there, usability is there, but not which one? Data mining, but not data mining. Data mining is not a part of data governance. Data mining is nothing but extracting the data. Question number 6 part. Management of the determination who is authorized to access the data, which item of the data is authorized person can access. Data security is to do with stealing of data, destruction of data and the money.
Integrity is there again.
Integrity is nothing but trustworthiness, reliability of the data. Compliance with regulations on the external laws, etc. Now, for example, who is authorized to access that particular data? That is called as data privacy. I can access only this information, not all the information. That is called as what? Data privacy. So the question is about which one? Data privacy. Only the authorized person can access the information. The data privacy. 7th.
Integration.
Process of combining data from different sources, both internal and external, by providing the users with unified view of all the data describes which data governance. We are collecting from internal as well as what? External sources, and we are going to provide the users. The data mining, the data usability, it's not about system, it's about which one? Integrating the data and providing to the users. Integrating the data and providing to the users. Next part. COSO framework, we've got control environment, risk assessment, and which one? Control activities, information and communication monitoring. All these things are there, which is not one of such 5 interrelated components. Information communication, risk assessment, monitoring. Okay, COSO framework did not talk anything about which one? Culture, ethics, and which one? Behavior. You can go through this. The 11th principle: control environment, risk assessment, control activities, information and communication, and which one? Monitoring. It is not talking anything about which one? Culture, ethics, and which one? Behavior. Question number 9, part next. Which is not a benefit of using IT governance framework. Not an advantage, not a benefit. It will result in effective governance. Okay. Specific roles and responsibilities. Yes. The framework breaks down into groups, into objectives, and which one? Activities. Benchmark for assessing risks and controls, it will be there. Yes. This is not there. This is not there as an advantage of IT governance framework. It is not a benefit. 10th question part. Which one would not fall under umbrella of which one? Data governance. Which will not fall under data governance. Data governance le edu varadu. Availability of data, okay. Data integration, complaints, all okay. Whether data governance is to do with the method in which you hire IT people? No. So that does not fall under the category. Data life cycle and which one? Records management. For example, expenses register. How should I maintain? How long I should maintain? Rent, electricity, printing and stationery, advertisement, marketing, various payments made. Expenses register. How long I should maintain? Okay, how should I maintain? Number 1, classified record should be there. The data should be fed in on time. Number 3, how long that data register should be there? 3 years, 2 years, 5 years? As long as possible. As long as possible. With respect to US federal laws, a corporation should maintain at least 10 years audited accounts. 10 years audited accounts, because they can conduct investigation inquiry anytime within what? 10 years. So 10 years back there was a problem. that can be, investigated and acquired on the market. So data life cycle is nothing but how frequently update the data. Then records maintenance is nothing but how long you maintain that particular data. Okay. So, and of course, that is what is going to be covered over here. Data life cycle and which one? Records management. Which data life cycle stage could legal, regulatory and contractual constraints in constituting what? Governance challenge. Usage of data. Usage of data that talks about which one, who can use the data, data privacy, data security, so data usage, it's a governance challenge. Question number 2, which is not considered as which one? Record, under records management. A draft of a which one? Legal document. That is not considered under which one? Records management policy. All the other things are recorded. Question number 3. Electronic data interchange begins with which of the following? Purchasing a new hardware, standardizing transaction format, selecting reliable vendors, mapping the work progresses and flows, and support the organizational goals. Simple. Electronic data interchange is nothing but transmission of data, access of data, control of data. The structure implementation begins with which one? Mapping how the flow, what information is required by whom, how the information should flow, who's authorized to do what, mapping the work progresses, and which one? The flows that supports which one? Organizational goals. Which of the data life cycle represents the creation of new data values using other data as input? Creation of new data values using other data as input. Already captured data வந்து நம்ம input எடுத்துக்க போறோம். We are going to create a new data values using others as input. It is not data publication, it is not data maintenance, it is not data capture. Synthesizing the data. Okay, it may be integrating the data. Like production department integrates the data of orders, maintenance, stock levels, etc. Clear. So using the other data, you synthesize the data, then take a decision on the market. Question number 5 part. Which of the following stages of data life cycle is the data usable by what? Organization. Other stakeholders கேட்டிருக்காங்க. First cannot be an answer. Why? We cannot start with data publication. Second cannot be the thing. Why? It starts with maintenance, then usage, archive. No. அதனால எந்த information வராது. Data capture, data maintenance and data synthesis will not communicate the information to the users. Definitely we have to publish the data. Then data analyze பண்ணனும், data synthesize பண்ணனும். Clear? So get the interrelated data, analyze the data and which one? Publish the data. That will give information to the stakeholders. It will give us, the reliable information or information to the users. Question number 6 part. Management account of companies working on creating which one? Records, after one of the database service crash கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. Most backups were corrupted. They lost over 3 years data. Which of the following would not likely to be included in the new records management policy? A strategy for preserving which one? All records, which one? Indefinitely. Yes. Because all the other past records were destroyed. So this will not be included. Where data life cycle does a data breach constitute? Usage of data is not a breach in the law. Data breach is an example of a stage in a life cycle of data, even though it would be unplanned and certainly unwanted. Which state of data cycle does a breach constitute? Analyzing the data is not an issue. Usage is not an issue. Synthesize, of course, we have to do. Data publication. Data publication means giving the data to outsiders, which may be unauthorized. Which may be what? Unauthorized. It may result in which one? Breach.
Usage அதான் நினைச்சேன். யூஸ் பண்ணும்போது வேற யாராவது unwanted usage யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டா.
Of course. அது வந்து பப்ளிஷ் பண்ணும்போது தானே. Formal versus what? Informal. Eighth. Which data lifecycle stage involves removal of every copy of data item from all locations of the organization? It is called as what? Data purging. Removal of every copy of data. Removal of which one? Every copy of data. Which one of the following is not the stage in the life cycle? Which is not there in the data this data maintenance irukku, synthesis irukku, purging irukku. Monitoring is not a life cycle. Clear? You enter the data, you maintain the data, you synthesize data, delete the data, that and all will come. Data monitoring is not part of life cycle. It is not part of which one? Life cycle. Data is captured by all the means except which one? Data synthesis. Data synthesis is nothing but using an existing data. Using an existing data. Which of the following stage is a stage of the data life cycle? No, it's a stage கேட்டிருக்கான்.
Option A, sir.
Oh, sir, not in கொடுத்திருக்கணும் sir. E sir answer. பாக்கி எல்லாமே ஸ்டேட்ஸ்.
Which of the following is a stage of a data life cycle கேட்டிருக்கான்.
Data maintenance, sir. Other things are other three processes.
Data maintenance is part of data life cycle. Records management, cleansing and mining are usage of data. Then only there is not a life cycle. Clear? Create the data, maintain the data, then purge the data. Mining is usage of data. Life cycle varadu. From data you would extract the data. Next, data lifecycle encompasses for a period of creation of data and its initial storage through the time in which the data becomes out of date and no longer need to be purged. Which of the following statement is true about data lifecycle?
Must pass all stages of the data.
Adu okay. Data lifecycle describes as a sequential data flow. Data can pass through each stage of data lifecycle only once.
Only once.
Clear. Data need not pass through all stage. Okay. Data lifecycle describes sequential data flow. No, that is also not correct. Data can pass through only once. No, it can pass through multiple times. Which one is correct? Which one is correct? What is it? None of the above is correct. எதுவுமே correct இல்லை. Which one is correct? None of the above is correct. Nothing is correct about the data life cycle. 13th one. data lifecycle begins with usable information, inputted information system should capture. No. A business activity occurs that triggers which one? Data capture lada, it life cycle begins. When you start capturing the data, the life cycle begins. Which one of the following is not considered as a record in relation to records management? Which is not considered as a record in records management? CRM system, time cards, okay, monthly bank statements are all part of which one? Records. That is not our record. They change the tax law. Okay, is it our record? No, that is not part of records maintenance. Record. That's not part of record. It's number 15 part. Data integration எப்ப நடக்குது? Data maintenance, this includes which one? Data integration, integrating the data.
Data maintenance is after.
No.
Sorry, before.
You capture the data, thereafter you maintain the data by integrating the data.
Processing of data before deriving any value from it,
such as performing data integration. Data maintenance includes, comma use pannana, it's data integration. So data maintenance, because only after integrating the data you can do analysis. Data capture, we don't integrate the data. Data synthesis is nothing but extracting a structured data, extracting from a structured data. So data maintenance is a correct option. Which of the following statements most accurately describes how the data flows through the life cycle?
D, sir. D or A?
Is it each stage cycle, each stage at once? No, it need not. Clear? Definitely at some stages it will flow. It can flow through what? Multiple times. It can flow through multiple times. Answer is what? A. Okay. Next we'll move on to which one? Cyber attacks. What is cyber attacks? Attack on your system, information system, software or whatever. What hackers do? They have fun, okay, by hacking your system, by disturbing your system, but not for financial gains. But not for which one? Financial gains. Hackivists are nothing but what? Group of people who do that particular activity of what? Hacking your system. Okay, so working together. Cyber criminals, okay, they do it for some financial favors. Okay, sometimes employees may get the data, then give the data. Competitors, okay, they steal your information for getting customers' data and other things. Foreign nations, okay, also attack the data. What are the different types of attacks? Denial of service. What do you mean by denial of service? Simple. Your website or server will be accessed where you will not be able to connect to it. You will not be able to what? Connect to it.
Right.
Okay, buffer the overflow where your system will hang, the system will not execute on the mark. Man in the middle attack where there is a malicious router or software can be injected between two networks where it can cause interrupt the traffic between what there is sent and delivered on the mark. Password crackers, of course we know from Microsoft to even designing softwares. I mean, various softwares we crack the passwords. The malware. What is a malware? Simple. That's like a spyware that can be entering into the data, that can be creating what different types of unlimited routines, etc., and all, like zombies madri, thousands and millions, that will distribute which one attacks, or that will probably create problem attacks in the market. What is ransomware? It will encrypt the data. Okay, it's very difficult to get back the readable data in the market. Then, so there are different types of abuses that can be there. It can be tampering your system, it can be copyright infringement, it can be pillaging the data. So those things can happen. Let us see. Look at this.
Social engineering.
During the audit logins, computers in the plant floor, auditors notices that one of the employees' accounts is being used to access what? Computer remotely via internet during working hours. When the employees is at work, there is no, unsuccessful login attempts using the incorrect password. Okay, the computer log. The auditor asks the employee if they gave their password to anyone. The employee says no. Of course not. Only the IT department, when they called and said they needed to check something in my account, then I would never give my password out over email. Based on this answer, employee's password was most likely to be obtained through social engineering. Which one of the following will mitigate password attacks?
Oh no.
Intrusion detection system வச்சுக்கலாம், two-factor authorization வச்சுக்கலாம்,
Now,
with a verification node, which will mitigate means which will solve your password attacks.
Oh.
All the above methods. Okay, it will ensure that your password is not attacked or hacked in the market. Security risks are variety attacks, threats require technical knowledge, but there is also many attacks which are not all technical, which is not accurately categorized.
A.
Dumpster driving, phishing, and social engineering can be categorized.
The phishing வந்துட்டு technical. Electronic law தானே பண்றாங்க.
But it is not accurately categorized.
Season.
பாக்கி எல்லாம் நார்மலா இருக்கு. ஃபிஷிங்னா மெயில் அனுப்பி அதுல கிளிக் பண்ணி வைக்கிறது.
அதுக்கு டெக்னிக்கல் தேவையில்லையே. Anybody can send you mail and they can ask you to ask payments, etc. and all. For example, I don't have any knowledge about technology. I can ask you money in WhatsApp, Facebook, and ask you to transfer to Google Pay.
அந்த மாதிரி வரதுலாம் வந்து டெக்ஸ்ட்ல இன்ஸ்டால் ப்ளோட்வேர்ல சாஃப்ட்வேர் அந்த மாதிரி தானே சார். அது டெக்னிக்கலா வேணும் இல்ல.
பட் அதுக்கு நாலேஜ் தேவையில்லை. டெக்னிக்கல் நாலேஜே தேவையில்லை. I require a bank account where I send a mail and I ask you to make the payment அந்த மாதிரி. It's பெரிய டெக்னிக்கல் நாலேஜ் தேவையில்லை. இதெல்லாம் அதில் வரும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். பேப்பர் கிளிக் அப்யூஸ், கிளிக் பண்ணிட்டே நான் பே பண்றேன் அந்த மாதிரி, காப்பிரைட் இன்ஃப்ரிஞ்ச்மெண்ட், ஹேக்கிங் எக்ஸெட்ரா and all. There is definitely non-technical. There is definitely which one? Non-technical தான் வரும். This one, dumpster drive, which is not. Cybersecurity risks include variety of attacks, threats that requires which one? Technical knowledge. Okay, but there may be attacks which are not at all technical, which is not accurately categorized. Now, okay, these dumpster driving, phishing, and social engineering is non-technical, definitely. Okay,
C&D technical.
ரெண்டுமே டெக்னிக்கல் தான். ஸோ நான் டெக்னிக்கல் மேபி பேப்பர் கிளிக், காப்பிரைட் இன்ஃப்ரிஞ்ச்மெண்ட், ஹேக்கிங், இதுக்கு மேபி ஆர் மே நாட் பி டெக்னிக்கல் த்ரூ நான் டெக்னிக்கல் அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கலாம், which is not accurately categorized. Paper click accuse, copyright infringement, and which one? Hacking, which may be technical or which may be what? Non-technical.
That's all.
What do you mean by extortion? Yes. For some financial favors, that will come under which one? Ransomware and the market. Which of the following is a non-technical type of cyber attack? What is dumpster driving?
Rush.
Yeah, from the trash, from the system logs, or from temporary files, system logs, you take which one? Some passwords and all those things are coming under which one? Dumpster driving, where you just access the dumps and you can get it.
Denial of service.
Sixth one part.
US.
Which of the following technical computer crime that requires sophisticated knowledge? Denial of service attack. Your system totally hack panni, the service will be totally denied. For that, it requires which one? A thorough, sophisticated computer knowledge. Seventh part.
Buffer overflow.
A type of cyber attack that involves sending more data. Overflow attack, buffer overflow attack. Eighth.
Spyware.
Gather personal data by recording keystrokes, etc. Credit card information and passwords. That is called as which one? Spyware. Okay, going for a spyware, through that you get it. Which one of the following are personal and in-person form cybersecurity threats கேட்டிருக்காங்க? Personal and impersonal form. Five இருக்கு, social engineering, okay. Dumpster driving also. Ninth கிடையாது, phishing கிடையாது.
5, 8, 10.
Phishing is not part of your person and person forms.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Person and in-person forms.
Not in person.
Person and in-person forms. Social network engineering, ஒரு பர்சனல் இருந்து இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் எடுத்து யூஸ் பண்றது சோசியல் இன்ஜினியரிங். ஐ கிவ் மை பாஸ்வேர்ட் அந்த மாதிரி. டம்ஸ்டர் டிரைவிங் பர்சன்ஸோட இருந்து ட்ராஷ்ல இருந்து எடுக்கிறது. But phishing is not from a particular person. They send the information to get the thing. Answer is what? 5 and what? 8. Which of the following represents least amount of risk with respect to cyber security? Least amount of risk. Least amount of risk.
Competitor clips. Samana maybe.
The paper click மாதிரி வந்துரும். Competitor clicks on all the search ads on a popular industry search items every minute.
6-character password will not cause any risk.
அப்படி இல்ல. Character password வந்து easy.
The high amount of risk.
Having 6 character password is a high amount of risk. Employee brings a thumb drive to the office, it's a big risk. A competitor clicking on all the search ads on a particular industry, search the terms every minute. அது வந்து it will give you like sometimes it can cause disruptions in the data.
மேட்ரிக்ஸ் புரியுது. காம்படிட்டர் என்ன கிளிக் பண்ணாலும் நம்மளுக்கு எதுவும் ஆகாது.
அவங்க கிளிக் பண்ண கம்பெனி has to pay இல்லையா சார் அந்த அட்வர்டைஸ்மென்ட்
Pay per click.
ஓகே.
Which is not a risk, least risk. We are having servers in different locations. That is not a risk. Having servers in different places of the country is not a risk. What are the differences against cyber attacks? Encrypting the data, images into encrypted format, videos into encrypted format. Okay. Ethical hackers. Okay, so simple. I mean, do not allow the hackers to hack your system or information. Go for advanced firewalls. Like firewall protects you to what? I mean, protects you the external people to access your thing. Have a restricted access control, which can be logical access or what? Physical access. Okay, this can be something you know. What do you mean by something you know? Password. Something you are is to do with biometrics, fingerprints, etc. Something you have is nothing but the two-factor authorization and other things. Okay, so biometrics, two-factor authorization, etc. That is can be there. Then physical access control also can be there. Like you can construct walls and fences in which you store your server, locked gates and store, manned guard post. Though we have a server, okay, server le data irukku, nobody can take the information from that. There is a firewall, but the place in which the server is stored should be what? Safe and secured and the money. Security cameras should be there, guarded dogs, alarm systems, etc. can be there. Physical access can be restricted. Biometric access system can be improved. Now let us come to it. Read this and let us solve. Which of the following user authentication controls will prevent from someone accessing the system and installing spyware using the contractor's account category?
1, 2, prevent from. So இது அந்த prevention control எதுன்னு கேட்கலாம்.
Inflation detection.
1, 3.
Read the full one. Manager created an administrator account, created contractor with full access to the system. After the contractor completed the project, week later, the system was inspected and tested. Everything is worked as expected. During the current routine IT audit, spyware found in ERP system that has been installed just 1 week previously. Someone accessing the system using what? Contractor's login. While viewing the IT staff, IT manager confessed that he had neglected disabled contractor login.
1, 3, 4.
Wait, pardon. Is it for internal use or external use? It is a login given to whom? Contractor. It is a login given to the contractor. Is it our employees, CEOs, CFOs, our people? No. It is for our, not our account. It is for which one? Contractor account. Contractor account. ரொம்ப simple. 1 week open வச்சிருந்தனால people have access the information. That's it. Which of the following user authentication control would have been the best to able to prevent someone from accessing the system and installing spyware using the contractor account. Accounts that will automatically what? Expire. Look at this. After the contractor completed the job, a week later, the system was inspected, tested, everything looked fine. Okay. Since the contractor accounts was not expiring, someone used that particular thing. For example, you're doing a work for 1 week. Create a login, that login will work only for what? 1 week. Thereafter, you cannot use it. Thereafter, you cannot use it again. Answer is C. Look at question number 2. A company uses magnetic cards to provide access to the room housing the data servers. Okay. Which one of the following represents weakness in using the card access system?
A or B?
Magnetic cards do not allow keeping an access log. Yes, it will be there. You just use the magnetic card and enter. It can be stored in the system. The process of using magnetic cards is not complicated. It's not a weakness. Magnetic cards require a possession to use them. That's a weakness. The card cannot be copied. Magnetic cards cannot be copied.
So security that they want.
Weakness of using the card access system is which one? You would have the card to access. Question number 3. Several hundred stores as a network of stores transmit sales data to headquarters. The network is also used for vendor to submit the records, stores to transmit special orders, regional distributions, national office to distribute training materials, store regional and national personnel to share information they think.
A.
If the employees do not report, how will they identify whether it is a suspicious activity or not? Require change control procedures for which one? Programs. Programs ke change control panna, then user will not be comfortable. If you do B, if you keep encrypting, every time you have to decrypt to analyze the data and extract the data.
Specific and the fictitious orders. Enable an order from a false or placement error.
This can be an option. To avoid fictitious orders, ensure that you are having a strong password control procedures for which one? Users, so that the users only place the order and no, fake orders come. No fake orders come. Next part. 5th one. Usage of biometric access system is an example of something you are. Something you are or something you know. Next. Sixth one. Filter incoming packets. We want to filter which one? Incoming packets of electronic information. Data that is coming in, we want to filter. Firewall to permit certain what? Authorized packages to enter into the company's network. Unauthorized packages should not come. That's it.
Completely unrelated to packet loss. Wi-Fi packet loss. Packet loss.
For transmitting an unwanted data or extracting an unwanted data on the market.
Wi-Fi line like usual packet loss.
Number one. Number two, sometimes you may transmit the data may not be received as it is. While transferring, for example, I send a video, the video is not received as it is. There may be cut in the voice, or there may be a dullness in the face, or dullness in the screen. The may packet lost. Which one is not a form of two-factor authorization? Which one is not a form of two-factor authorization? Locked door and alarm system. There is nothing to do with two-factor authorization. Which is not an example of physical characteristics that can be used in biometric access. Physical characteristics. Security question. Security question is not a physical characteristic. Physical characteristic. Which is not a physical access control. Which is not a physical access control. Password change is not a physical access control. Which one of the following authentications? Which one of the following authentications patterns describe two-factor authorization? Magnetic card numeric code, no. Requiring the user to enter the password and date of birth, no. Hand scan followed by voice verification.
Both are same.
Both are same. The voice verification, that is something you are. Then text message, okay, that is the two-factor authorization. Which one of the following will be considered as the strongest password?
In my opinion, these.
These special characters.
Okay, it will have alpha, numeric, capital, small, strings, special characters, that is called as what? Strongest password. It has big, small, numeric, special characters, everything. Best defense against phishing attack is which one? Educating the employees. Educating the employees. Next. Which one is not a defense against cyber attacks? Cyber attack, social engineering is not a defense. It's not a defense. Then read the next one and try to answer. Which of the following statements are correct with respect to advanced firewalls? Advanced firewalls are able to block malware. Advanced firewalls can filter the packets. Okay. Advanced firewalls are called as what? Next generation firewalls. True the all.
Malware block. Not get through.
Microsoft Security Essentials, McAfee. In Chrome itself, we have got some firewalls. 15th. All of the following are strategies to restrict the data access except except now ABC are there, which is not there. Something you want, that is not a thing. That is not a thing. Which one of the following is a physical security control?
D.
Limiting the access of certain functions to specific computers on the network. That means this computer cannot access. That's a physical security control on that computer. Then appropriate element of a policy email usage would include the following, all of the following except
So
now encrypting email messages. Yes, exception கேட்டிருக்கோம். See, when an employee is quit, whether you have to delete all the email, just change the password or disable login. The pass, for example, you worked for 10 years, all communication, email sent, etc. and all shall be erased once you leave? No. You can just deny the login, or you can just deny what? Login, or you can change the password and keep, because that should be accessible for past data. So that is not a correct method. That's not a correct method. Exception is okay, do not erase. Okay, erasing will not, is not a good one. 18th one. Which control, when implemented, would be best assist in the meaning, the control objective of the system that has a capacity to hold users and accountable for the functions performed? What you have done, if that is monitored, activity logging is nothing but what? Monitoring what the employee has done, what the user has done. Okay, so that will make users accountable for what functions they performed. Yes. Ethical hacking is also known as penetration testing, vulnerability testing, and which one? Intrusion testing. Okay, penetration testing is nothing but I'm able to get into your system and take the data. Vulnerability testing is nothing but exploiting the software or features, etc. and all, taking that advantage of that. Intrusion testing is nothing but okay, by installing one app, can I intrude into other apps? Can I take the data, etc.? All those things can be there. So the answer is what? All the above. What is the next one? Technology enabled, which one? Financial transformation. What is a technology enabled financial transformation? Simple, using the technology, how we are able to get the advantage in finance. Example, automating processes. That is one advantage. And making the process simplified, mapping the process, analyzing the process, and making the improvements in the process. This will result in what? This will result in quicker data, quicker analysis. Removal of errors, etc. and all those things can improve. That is called as what? Technology enabled, which one? Financial transformation. Which of the following statements about robotic process automation is true?
A. Oh, G.
Option D.
It is designed to take care of high volume, risk, rules driven, and which one? Repeated tasks. Repeated tasks only the robotic process automation can handle. Yes. Then read the next one. Business process analysis is used to analyze the business processes to determine the way in which they currently being done. Read this fully. Which is not a task that is part of business process analysis, which is not a task caterer. Which is not a task caterer. We are just analyzing business processes. We are analyzing just business processes. Okay. Implementation is at the next stage. Okay. You analyze the process. Okay. You just analyze the process. Okay. Implementing the improvements will take place at a later stage, not in the analysis stage. So that is not a part of business process analysis. Third question. All of the following statements are correct with respect to the robotic process automation except
Can't enter data.
you can enter data. RPE can enter data. Robotic process automation, for example, scan, automatically sales is entered. Just scan, purchase quantities are entered on the market.
But human intervention is not.
Illami intro. For example, you go to McDonald's, point of sales machine, scan money pay pannone, immediate bill varudhu. There's no human intervention. You select the product, go to the payment site, make UPI payment, automatically billing is generated. Okay, that it can enter the data and execute queries also. It cannot enter all type of transactions. Routine it can handle. Routine transaction only it will handle. For example, we made certain improvements in the building. We made some certain improvements in the building. Whether automated journal entry can be passed. No, why? Because you have to decide, is it a capital expenditure or what? Revenue expenditure. Should I have to take it to the asset or should I have to take it as what expense? Here a human intervention will be required. Writing of bad debts recoverable or writing of customers account, bad debts. This robots cannot handle. Human intervention only can be done. Which one of the following cannot be processed through automation? Which cannot be processed through automation? Budgeting task can be done. Customer order processing can be done. Customer service check task can be done. Adjusting the journal entry, we require which one? A human intervention. A human intervention. Fifth one. Which one of the following controls would have prevented the situation from occurring? Documentation standards and procedures developed would have prevented this particular, the unable to use system functionality. Clear? How to use system functionality, I do not know. How to prevent this or how you have prevented this? Documentation standards and procedures that are developed on the market. Question number 6. Which can be automated in a caterer? Yes, you can do the transaction processing through automation. You can consolidate financial statement. You can do which one? Order processing. Investigation of variances. We require which one? A human intervention. So that is not an option. So option is which one? Which is the correct option? Answer is C. Answer is which one? Sorry, B. Answer is which one? B. 7th part. Which one of the following is not a stage in system development life cycle? System development life cycle not a stage in caterer. system control. System analysis, operation, maintenance, physical design எல்லாமே. This is coming under what? System control. Read the question number 8. Analyze, let us solve. Business process analysis is a system whereby business processes are being analyzed so that performance improvements can be made. Okay, which one of the following are the elements of successful BPA? Okay, correct.
Bottlenecks, inefficiency.
It focuses on processes that can secondary to the business. No, primary to the business தான் நம்ம ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணுவோம். Bottlenecks and inefficiencies are identified by analyzing the process. Plans to mitigate to revise the business process that are developed. Yes. So the purpose of or during the business process analysis, you do 1, 3 and what? 4. Answer is A. Which is not a true statement about RPA. Automation which is not true.
Bad outputs. Option A.
Look at this. Which is not a true statement about robotic process automation. RPE can result in bad output just like work done by human. Yes, it can result. RPE cannot replicate human reasoning. Yes. Using RPA requires significant IT department. No, developing usage, do you require 80 people? For example, Macronetly you scan and pay, whether a software engineer works there. No. Usage, there is no requirement for which one? IT department. Developing usage it is not required. So, which is not true? C.
Human reasoning.
Yes, RPE cannot replicate human reasoning. Clear? For example, robotic process, automated reports cannot be with certain reasoning from what? Human. Okay, illogical reports can come. It is same like ChatGPT use. Try to get something done through ChatGPT. It can give certain illogical answers also. So, natural human touch irukadu. In which stage of system development life cycle cost benefit analysis is done? In which stage of life cycle cost benefit analysis is done? Yes. Feasibility study of alternative solutions. We always make which one? Cost benefit analysis. Next. In which stage of system the prepared equipment acquired to be installed? Implementation and which one? Conversion. Yes, we require to purchase physical equipments and install them. Which one of the following statement about robotic process automation is incorrect? There is no common sense used, it is only machine learning that is done. An advantage of using a barcodes rather than other means of identification of parts is used is that the movement of parts can be easily and quickly recorded through which one? Barcode scanning. Yes. Okay, I'll stop with this now, and I will continue this particular topic